Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Megha, and I'm going to be taking a session on biotechnology for you guys today. I'm a research scientist at Biotechnology. I have a master's in applied biosciences, and I have a bachelor's in biotechnology. I knew I wanted to do research ever since 10th standard. I remember half my class taking up computer science and economics, and I think I was one out of like the entire class who took up biology instead, and I never took any medical exams, so I never wanted to go into medicine, which was very surprising to a lot of people. But I know not everybody knows what they want to do so early on, and that's okay. You can take your time. But I urge you to explore your options and find out what you need to do before you're at an intersection in life where you absolutely have to choose what you need to do. I've had friends in engineering colleges who were absolutely lost and did not want to be there at all. So I request you not to do that to yourselves. If you're already in college, explore what you'd want to do afterwards. But if you're in school, take the time to find out what you can do, what your gut feeling tells you that you want to do with your life, and go in that direction. Don't waste your time at things that you don't want to do. So I'll give you a brief overview of my field. The research stream that I'm in focuses on therapeutics, so medicines. In college, I extensively studied how new medicines are created. So my master's was focused on finding a molecule that can be used for making new cancer therapeutics because the current cancer therapeutics we have are developing resistance. So basically, your tumors can't get killed by the medicines we have. It's just like superbugs that you can't kill them with the antibiotics you have. So um, I took classes that would help me with this research in my master's. The classes I took were drug discovery and development. There were two phases of that, so that lasted an entire year. Then I took medicinal chemistry, which also lasted an entire year. I also took proteins and enzymes, biochemistry, molecular biology. And so, another thing you need to do when you're in research is study about protocols and regulations. So, you need to know about what the regulatory body is in the part of the world where you're practicing. So, I'm in the US, so I had to study a lot about FDA and IRB. But if you are elsewhere, you will have to learn a lot about the other regulatory bodies that are in there, and they make you do all these paperwork. You have to do all this paperwork to fill out your new therapeutics and the testing and the animal controls and all that. It's very tedious. I understand it takes up weeks and weeks worth of time, but it's very essential to understand that research has a standard that you need to keep up. So worldwide, there is a standard for research that needs to be kept up, and you have to comply with it. This you learn as a student, so you practice it when you actually become a scientist. I've spent, I think, 6 months getting trained doing human research and animal research and all the regulations that go into it. It's very important that you do this early on. As soon as you are in college and you join a lab, learn how to do blood-borne pathogen training, learn how to do basic safety training, learn how to do chemical training. These are very important and will help you in the long run. Okay, so in my undergrad, I think one of the most important classes that I took was molecular biology, which is mainly recombinant DNA technology. Okay, I see I have a question here from Siddharth. He says, as a student, what's the best way to get into research and how do I contact professors and labs? So if, as a student, if you mean a college student, this is fairly easy to get into because all college students, like all colleges have multiple labs and you can approach your professors. Generally, professors are always looking for help. So they appreciate students coming up to them and they will always let you in. I've never had a professor say no to me joining their lab. The only way is you have to put in some effort on how you approach them. So you need to look really good on paper. I know that's not the ideal way, but keep your grades up. It's really difficult to get in anywhere if you have bad grades. I know it's not fair. You may be extremely smart and not good at exams, but it's just easier if your grades are up. I'm not saying be excellent. I'm not saying have a complete 4.0 GPA, but I'm saying stay in the range where it's acceptable for your knowledge to be as much as it is, but you have experience. So write emails, write cover letters along with your emails. And if you're a school student, I've had a high school student work in my lab for over 5 months, and she's now at Stanford. So she just sent out an email to my principal investigator, and she came to visit and she talked to him about why she wants to get into research. She wanted to get into it because she believed that this was truly a way she could contribute to society. And she was very determined, very strong, very smart. And it's just that simple. Write perfectly worded emails and send them out with cover letters and your resumes. Have your resume looked at a couple of people, especially people in your fields, so they can tell you how you can alter some sentences. It's just good, these online portals which scan out a couple of words and then you get in. Like, nobody actually reads an entire resume. It goes through the system. So you need to place your words correctly so you actually pass the system and your resume goes through. So you can send your resume to people who know how to do this and they can help you out. But that's about it. That's how you get into research. And you need to focus where you want to get into research as well. But if you're like in your early stages, you should probably start at like a recombinant biology lab, because it'll teach. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so where was I? Okay. The eligibility criteria to get into colleges, as such, there is nothing. There is no eligibility criteria that they will completely bar you from or take you in based on. So you will be favored over other candidates if you show initiative. If you're in high school and your resume says that you have worked in labs, shows initiative. Everybody knows that a high school student can't do research that is extremely high tech, but it shows initiative that you are willing to do something. If you're in college, your research can be a little more high tech. So join labs that have a track record of publishing papers, or people who go to conferences from these labs. So it'll help you in your career because there's already a path that people have gone on. They will help you get there. Join a lab which is just starting out and there's else to help you. It's a little selfish, but it's okay. Just go to a lab where there are people already. There are postdocs, there are PhDs, there are master students, because they know how to help you if you're in your bachelor's right now or even just starting college. I think you still have to give GRE if you're trying to go to the US, or you have to give TOEFL or IELTS to prove that you can understand. If you're sitting in class, you understand English. Apart from that, I haven't given any other exams and I've never needed the need for any other exams either. That's about it. And so you go onto this website called US News and gives you a list of, and it gives you the rating. It gives you the rating of how good. And based on that, you should create a Google Doc and like list out things that you need to apply for, because you will need recommendation letters from your professors. And these recommendation letters take some time because all college professors are writing multiple recommendation letters towards the end of the year. And you don't want to get held back just because you don't have a recommendation letter. So keep a good rapport with your professors because they really help you out in college admissions. I have, I think, 4 or 5 mentors at this point, and I keep my relationship with them very good because I know in the future as well, if I want to collaborate with them, I'm going to need them. So be nice, be respectful, be innovative, and keep in touch with them because your recommendation letters is what matters. So I had one of my professors tell me that anything I think about myself right now, it doesn't matter. My opinion does not matter. What he writes on paper for me is all that counts. When I apply to a program, nobody's going to see what I write about myself because I can absolutely write anything I want, right? But they're going to read your recommendation letters. I know it's a little hard. Your professors can be a little difficult to deal with, but please be nice to them. They have a lot of experience and they will help. So that's the eligibility criteria. Okay, so pick a mentor that is going to help you. That already, they should be willing to write you recommendation letters. Ask them this right away when you join their lab. Ask them if they have any papers that you can help them on. Getting published is the easiest way to get into college. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of colleges that are good for my field if you want to get into therapeutics and biochemistry in general. In the US, the University of California are one of the best. So San Diego and Berkeley. And then there is Scripps Institute of Oceanography. And there is the Salk Institute of Biological Sciences. And if you're in Europe, I'm not entirely sure because I've only done like a small part of my research there, so I don't know. But from what I hear, Max Planck Institutes are one of the best. and they have multiple institutes, so you can apply to one based on your specialty. Um, what is that? College. How do you manage college life? Okay, so the most important thing anywhere is that everybody only has 24 hours. Nobody gets more than that, nobody gets less than that. So, no matter how smart you are, no matter how hard you work, if you don't manage your time, you will lag behind and you don't want to do that. So, learn how to manage your time, be completely organized, like write your stuff down, make post its, don't forget anything, set down goals as soon as you get up in the morning that I need to do this, this, this by the end of the day. And get it done. And if you don't get it done, put it on your priority. If you work in a lab, there will be, at any point, you will not be working on a project. You will definitely be working at least on two. So learn how to do that and manage your time very well. I have a question from Harsh Mishra. He says, what are the fields in which a biotech student may get job and what would be the salary? I was in biotech and then I moved to pharmaceuticals, but you can go into cellular and molecular research. So you would study the pathways and misregulations for diseases. That would be completely research. So you can get into academics, or if you get into the industry jobs are extremely regulated, so they are a little slow and not as innovative because they have to answer to 100 more people than anybody else in academics would have to. So if you stay in academics, it's very fast paced and it's a lot of innovative work, but you have lesser money because you work with grants. So you can't just spend your money just like that. You need to have results to support your thesis, and it's a lot of mess working in an academic setting, but it's very fast, so it's for people who like to work constantly. But academics pays you very less. If you are a PhD with a postdoc and you start out as an assistant professor, you will probably get paid around $80,000 a year. That's your starting salary, obviously, and but this is with a PhD and a postdoc, not with a master's. If you start out with just a master's, you will be hired as a research associate or a research assistant, and you will be paid about $40,000 to $50,000 a year. And this obviously changes based on the cities and the countries you're in. This is a estimate of where I am in. And then if you are in the industry, you can expect to make about $60,000 to $70,000 a year with a master's. If you have a PhD, you can expect to make about $80,000 to $95,000 a year. I hope that answers your question. Okay, you asked me about career streams as well. So if you take up biotechnology, you can go into drug discovery and development like I did. You can go into pharmacology, which is basically drug metabolization, absorption, and how drugs actually work in the body. You can, so if you can split down the sections based on literally everything. So you can start from the head, you can go into neurobiology, you can go into cardiothoracic, you can go into vascular systems, you can go into any kind of research just based on part of the body. If you cut it down, sort it down by fields, you can also go into biochemistry, molecular biology, genetics, animal research, plant research. There are all sorts of things. So I hope that answers your question. And I was talking about college life. Okay, so you need to, so the skills that you need in this field change from time to time. So when I was starting out in my undergrad, the new thing, not new, but the most required skill that everybody needed in research at that point was recombinant DNA technology. And we learned that in school. And now it's a very normal thing. Everybody knows how to do recombinant DNA technology field. The new thing come up is flow cytometry, where you set trend that goes on. But after a couple of years, there are just some skills that you have to learn. So if you have an opportunity in some microscopy, take it up. These are just things that look really good on your resume and will help you in the long run. So as a scientist, the one thing that I know is that I can read anytime, I can learn anytime, but I know how to manage my time. I know how to organize. I know how to prioritize. Because my results, today's results will decide what I'm going to do tomorrow and how my project is going to go forward. So you need to know how to do all this. And I had a list of certifications that you need to do. I'm not sure if I told you those already, but if I haven't, I will send out an email with Darsha and she can share them with you. Okay, so another thing, after you leave your undergrad and you go into masters, companies don't come to you for placement. You have to go to them. So go to career fairs that your college sets up. Generally, all colleges set up career fairs where they will call people from different companies and interact with them, network with them, try to sell yourself, like have a pitch ready whenever you see a recruiter. Be good on paper, have your resume looked at by a million different people so they can give you input and you can make the best out of it. Take copies of resume with you wherever you go to career fairs and hand them out to all the employers. Just randomly hand out your resume everywhere. You don't know where it'll land up. The current job I have is how I have it. I went to a career fair, I handed somebody my resume, and they called me. Um, and learn how to talk to recruiters in a very professional, but like in a way where you'll make an impact, like where they will remember you. When they pick up your resume, your face should shine in front of them. Oh, this is the person I spoke to. Um, Okay, so somebody asked me pros and cons of this field. Pros of this field, I honestly believe that doing research is actively contributing to society, and it's very rewarding work. But plus, you can travel a lot. I have traveled just because of research. I have traveled so much. I was in Europe for my for a little bit of my bachelor's, and I go places for my conferences and workshops. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Time consuming. It's extremely time consuming. Cons. So it's not a 5 job. You don't get in at line and clock out at the end. You stay there as long as your experiment runs, and God help you if you're working with live creatures because they will grow at their own pace and you can't do anything about it. If my bacteria decides to go grow at 11 p.m., I'm at 11 p.m. Um, Advice to myself 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, I was in second year of my undergrad. The only advice I have for everybody, please learn to manage your time. It is extremely essential to be punctual because other people are depending on you. And it's extremely important to be time to manage your time in research because a lot of your results depend on how much time you spent on them. And in one go, you will never get a result. You always have to do multiple runs of everything. If you're finishing a paper, your result needs to be done 3 times before you can actually put it down on a paper. So please manage your time. Be good with your colleagues. Like everybody you work in a lab with, everybody's super stressed. So try to be nice because you're all on the same team. I faced this issue in a couple of my labs where people are just screaming and shouting at each other. And I find that extremely disturbing because if you're there for, say, 10 hours a day, you want it to be a good environment. So make the contribution from your side and everybody else will be nice to you. I can't stress enough how important it is to be nice when you're in research. Um, if there are any other questions, I will take them and I will send out a list of the colleges that I have over here and also the certifications that you should think about doing when you're in college. I think that's about. Yes, now. Okay, I don't see. Okay, there's a question. Um, Technology that you can get. BITS Kharagpur also has, no, not, I'm sorry, IIT Kharagpur has a biotechnology course, and I'm not entirely sure, but I think BITS Pilani also does. And I studied from SRM, which was also fine. And BIT also has a biotechnology course. These are the 5 that I know of. I'm sure there are many others. Um, I think SPCE in that also does biotechnology. I'm not check this for you if you like, but I'm sure you can find this online. But these are the 5 colleges. Any other questions? I hope that answers your question, Harsh. I don't think there are any other questions. If you guys have more questions, you can get my email, Harsha, and feel free to email me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I think that's the end of this live session. I'm just going to confirm with Darsha if I can stop this live session. Um, okay, thank you.